My name is Thorax, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. On this installment of Strategy for Busy People, we're looking at Nebuchadnezzar from Nepos Games. I've got about 6.5 hours in this game. I love city builders. I've played a lot of city builders over the years. SimCity, City Skylines, Banished, Frostpunk. I've played so many of them. Whenever I see a new city builder, I want to give it a try. I also like ancient history. While the Roman era is my favorite, ancient Egypt seemed like a pretty cool background for a city builder, so I decided to give Nebuchadnezzar a try. Now, this game may not be visually stunning, but it has just enough pizzazz in the graphics department to keep me interested. It's akin to a few generations back in the SimCity era graphically, but it doesn't detract from the game. The music and sound effects are well done. But for the love of the Egyptian gods, don't click on a citizen. The voiceovers are atrociously bad. I won't let it keep me from playing. The other interesting thing about this game is the attention to detail with regard to historical accuracy. Nepos spent a lot of time researching Egypt, laying out each scenario's historical background, and even, it seems to claim, giving you a historically accurate starting city. It's definitely a different angle on the genre. Many quote-unquote true city builders use the common triangle of zoning for industry, housing, and commercial. Keeping the city humming causes these zones to level up, which brings more money, blah blah blah. Where Nebuchadnezzar digresses from this tried-and-true formula is that only housing has types, and the leveling up is exclusively achieved by ensuring that they are supplied with sufficient quantities of goods. You see, Nebuchadnezzar is really a logistics simulator in disguise. Not only are there bare resources that get transformed into final goods, but the transportation of those goods around the city is a key part of the game. As an example, lower-class housing needs ceramics to level up. Ceramics are produced by the ceramics factory, which needs to be supplied with clay, which is produced at clay pits. But the ceramics factory might be far from the housing. Production buildings don't store many goods on site, and their haulers have limited range. You end up needing to manage a system of warehouses, and then employ caravans to move goods from warehouse to warehouse. Finally, markets are used to distribute goods, and the market employees' paths need to be managed. They can only walk so far. In the later scenarios, you have raw materials like copper that can only come from managing trade with other cities, which requires ports and warehouses and caravans and etc. None of this is bad. This is just where the challenge in Nebuchadnezzar lies, in managing supply chains and logistics. On top of all this, you will find common city builder tropes like fire and police and health. In addition to that, though, is a system of gods and worship and festivals. Really, the game wouldn't have felt complete without those, and Nepos did a great job at not making it a detraction. And how could you have ancient Egypt without huge temples and monuments? Overall, the game is extremely well thought out, and most of the systems seem to work as intended. Things occasionally do fall off the rails sometimes, though, for no apparent reason. A supply chain of wheat and bread might be humming along perfectly fine, and then suddenly it isn't, and your low-class citizens are leaving because they have no bread. Then there's the whole system of wages and taxes. How do unemployed people pay taxes? In fact, in early games, almost all of your wealthier citizens are both unemployed and paying the most taxes. I totally messed up a scenario once, and had to restart because I was going to go bankrupt. Then I found myself crawling strategy guides on the Steam community discussions, and that's when I knew that this game had hooked me. However, in the 6th scenario, which was really the second mission after the tutorials, I got to a point where my city had insufficient prestige for me to complete it. The only way to win would have been to build a lot more housing, which would have meant more supply chain management, and I just wasn't interested in building up another entire system of wheat, bread, clay, ceramics, milk to feed the unwashed masses. I'll probably make time to go back to Nebuchadnezzar again in the future to try to complete a few more scenarios. After all, ancient Egypt wasn't built in a day. On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, Nebuchadnezzar is a super solid city builder that I could see myself putting many more hours into, but I still managed to make that Thai stir fry.